Dear friends, Romania. And as you see, it's already 6 p.m. Romanian time. So here we are. We are live with you over our Facebook page, YouTube, and Twitter. Back in April, we started and decided together with my colleagues Romania and over 300 members in the Professional Tourist Guide Association ProGuide is the one which is, let's say, getting together all these people which are willing to show you and share with you the beauties of Romania. In order to have such a profession in Romania, you are getting a license from the Ministry of Economy Department. So each and every guide will have such a certificate and such a license. There are different models of the license. And according to the Romanian law, each and every group has to hire a licensed tourist guide in order to um, see the beauties of Romania. So, as you already know, today we are going to meet with Carmen, and she's going to show us the beauties of Bucharest. So, we return to Bucharest once again. Hi, how are you?
Alina, hi everybody, I'm good. How are you?
Fine, a little bit tired, but otherwise everything it's beautiful. Just tell us a few words about you. It's your first time live with us, so we have to know something. We have to. We are like this. Who are you? What are you doing? Just share with us.
I am a qualified tourist guide, as you mentioned. Okay, so this is my license. I'm
Perfect.
also an English and French experienced teacher and a sworn translator, English translator here in Romania. So I do a lot of things regarding foreign languages, let's say. And I like traveling very much and making new friends. So
Right.
this is one of the reasons that I chose to become also a guide.
Beautiful. Perfect. So we are going to, you are going to share with us today one another interesting subject about Bucharest,
Yes.
but not before having some comments because we have our friend Adrian Gheorghiță, which is following us and of course wearing a mask as we are supposed to do.
Yes.
So good evening, we miss you too. So let us dive into today's subject. So the Botanical Garden and the floor is yours. Enjoy. Just
Thank you
let me
so
know
much.
when you need anything.
Sure. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's talk about the Botanical Garden in Bucharest. It was named after Dimitrie Brânză, who was a Romanian doctor, botanist, naturalist, and he was born in Botoșani County in Romania in 1846. He was a member of the Romanian Academy, and he's a graduate of the University from Paris. He at the Faculty of Natural Science and Medicine, where he got a doctorate in 1869. He served as a doctor and botanical teacher at the University of Iași. Iași is another wonderful city of Romania, which I really encourage you to visit when coming to Romania. Or if you are already here, don't miss it. And in 1874, Dimitrie Brânză was transferred to the university from Bucharest. Just 1 year later, he started developing the botanical collection of the natural science faculty. In 1882, he got the permission to do to create a botanical section in the Natural History Museum called Grigore Antipa, which is a wonderful museum in Bucharest. So if you love nature and animals, just don't miss it. It's really good. He wrote many zoology and botanic and geology manuals. And he died in 1895 when he was only 49. Now let's see about the garden itself. It is situated in Cotroceni neighborhood, where you can also find the house of the Romanian president. So it's a nice neighborhood. It covers a surface of 17.5 hectares, and it has also 4,000 square meters of greenhouses and over 10,000 species of plants. It was founded in 1860 by the Dr. Carol Davila near the medicine and pharmacy faculty in the period of Alexandru Ioan Cuza. He was the ruler at that time of the Romanian country, which has just been created at those times. The garden was moved in 1884 to its current place, of course, by Dimitrie Brânză, and it was inaugurated in 1891 after also the greenhouses were built and populated. But unfortunately, just 1 year later, in 1892, it was affected by a flood. It also suffered damages in the First and Second World War. And the first one, it was used by the German troops. And in the Second World War, it was hit by the English-American bombs on 4th of April, 1944, and sustained a lot of damage. Moving on to the museum in the Botanical Garden, because we also have a museum here, which is at the entrance in the garden. We have there over 5,000 species of plants, including 1,000 exotic species. Unfortunately, in these times, both the greenhouses and the museum are closed because due to our current situation. But when things will get normal, let's say, I encourage you to visit also the museum and the greenhouse, of course. Good. Now let's see about the greenhouse, the old greenhouse. It was built under the guidance of the Belgian architect Louis Fuchs between 1889 and 1891 on a surface of 760 square meters. It is similar to the architecture of the greenhouses from Liège, Belgium. And even after 129 years, it is still considered an artistic association of metal and glass. It has several compartments like tropical and subtropical plants, Mediterranean plants, succulent, and many others. The old house, also like the museum, suffered in the two world wars. And nowadays, it is only one pavilion that can be visited, the one with the when it is open, of course, the one with the collection of the tropical forest. The rest of the greenhouse are just used for the current collections that the garden has, and to supply also research material for the students. Next, we can also, yes, this is the picture that I took myself. The greenhouse was closed, but one of the doors was open, so I could get a peek inside. So you can get an idea of what it is inside the greenhouse. Also in the botanical garden, next we can also find the lake with fish and some ducks. And of course, it's very nice. You hear the ducks quacking. Okay. And now let's talk about the organization of the botanical garden. It is organized in sectors, exterior and interior sectors. The exterior sector, we start with the decorative sector, which is quite at the entrance of the botanical garden. And it has about 500 species and varieties. Each plant has its own personality, which can affect, of course, the style of the zone where it is planted. We can find here tulips, peonies, lilies, mini carnations, trees which are rarely found in the parks of our country, Romania, like American nut, Indian lilac. Also in this sector we have magnolias, popo tree, silk tree, cedars. It is very nice, as you can see from my pictures. This is just a small part of it. It is much bigger. Moving on to another sector outside, we have the rare plant sector. And this is very important because nowadays 25% of the world known plants are threatened by extinction. Among the factors that determine this reduction of plants populations are the intensification of agriculture, of course, the exploitation of the biological resources, the intensification of urbanization, climate modifications, pollution, and other things, of course. This sector has the mission to conserve the biodiversity. Of course, we find rare, vulnerable species from Romania's flora here, which are contained in the national red lists, like snowdrops, peonies, sage, thornflower, etc. The next sector is the Mediterranean plant sector. The Mediterranean, okay, yes, now we see also the picture. When we talk about the Mediterranean region, that one is from Atlantic Ocean until the Caspian Sea. It contains Portugal, Spain, Morocco, north of Algeria and Tunisia, south of France, Italy, Greece, Bulgaria, west and south of Turkey, Syria, north of Egypt, Lebanon, and Libya. And this region is characterized by warm winters, rainy springs, and hot and drought summers. With over 20,000 species, the flora of this region is considered the richest in Europe. Here in this Mediterranean section, we have over 100 species, out of which some are also present in the flora of Romania. In regions with similar climate like the one in the Mediterranean region. And here we talk about Dobroja, where we can find also the Danube Delta, the important reservation which is in UNESCO Patrimony. And of course, I suggest if you do come to Romania, don't miss the Danube Delta, it is amazing. And some other regions in Romania where you can find this type of climate is Oltenia and Banat. Among the plants here we have fig, marigold, lavender, and melissa. The next one, yes, it is the Italian garden sector, or also known as Italian Renaissance garden, and is a type of garden inspired from the classic order and beauty ideals, and it is characterized by symmetry, axial geometry, and order as stylistic principles. It was conceived as a part of the architectural site of the villas from Rome and Florence in the second part of the 15th century, just for the pleasure of contemplating the garden and having a nice sight. Green is the main color in these Italian gardens. They have very little flowers, and the fences are are sculptures made in trees directly. Among the plants here we have a cypress tree, boxwood, juniper. It is also built on terraces of stairs and alleys, and of course with the fences, live fences at the edges, as I mentioned before, like everything is green. The sector Dobroja flora is next. And Dobroja is a region in the southeast of Romania and has an aspect of highland. It has a rich vegetation of about 2,000 taxon, which are about 50% of the flora of Romania. Um, Here are species protected in all Europe, like the highland peony. Dobroja is the home of 82 national reservations besides the Danube Delta, which I already mentioned. But here we also have the National Park in Machin Mountains, the Babadag Forest, the Dumbroven Forest. Also here we can find wild jasmine, smoke tree, etc. In this sector. The next sector, outside sector, is the gymnosperms hill sector. And this is just a hill that was set up by Dimitrie Brânză himself from the beginning of the Botanical Garden in 1886. And of course, it suffered during the war in 1916, and it was remade completely in 1940. This sector illustrates the systematic morphological diversity of the gymnosperms, which has in its group wood plants, with the common feature that the seed is not closed in the fruit. Now there are about 10,000 species of gymnosperms known, but just 850 species are still alive. The most known representatives of this type of species are ginkgo biloba tree, the pine tree, types of fir, spruce, etc. In this sector also the visitor thinks he's in the mountains because of the great number of trees and also the hills, small hills that we have here. Next one is a very beautiful Rosarium, of course. We know everybody loves roses, and roses have a long and colorful history, being in time the symbol of love, of beauty, of war, and of politics, of course. According to fossil proofs, the rose appeared around 60, 70 million years ago. In nature, the rosa gender has 150 species only in the northern hemisphere. The cultivation of the roses began 5,000 years ago, probably in China. It's like everything is from China nowadays, and also before, sounds like this. They are important like ornament trees for the flowers, of course, because we like the flowers, but also they are used in perfumes, cosmetics, and pharmacy industry. And the garden in Bucharest has a lot of roses, as you can see from my pictures, just a small part of them. And there are many types and colors. So I'm sure that you'll enjoy it and you can take some very nice pictures here. Moving on to the next sector, it's called the Iridarium. And here we have a Greek goddess legend. It is said that the goddess Iris, once she stepped outside, everywhere she stepped, color flower would appear from the ground. And since she was the messenger of the gods and traveling on the rainbow, and the flowers that appear behind her were named, of course, after her. The Irish gender has almost 300 species just in Europe, Central Asia, North America, and North Africa. The first mentioning of the Irish gender as a garden plant was in 1469 BC. King Thutmose III of Egypt was a passionate gardener and he collected plants the same way many people in his times craved for gold. When Egypt conquered Syria, the king found here the iris flowers and introduced them to his garden. And quickly, the iris became very popular and was seen by the Egyptians as the symbol of the essence to renew life. The three external tepals of the flower represent the faith, the wisdom, and the bravery. In the flora of Romania, we have 16 species of iris, commonly known as fleur de lis. We have 8 rare species, and one of them here in the garden, and one of them is the Iris brânză, which was dedicated to Dimitrie Brânză himself and became the emblem of the botanical garden. Is the purple one on the right that you can see. Next, we have the Remedies garden sector, which is a sector close to the greenhouse, and it has species used in popular medicine or used in order to obtain some pharma products. Also here we have plants that are used to obtain colors and textile fibers, papers, plants for drinks, for cosmetics, and of course perfumes and insecticides. Next we have the grandma's garden sector, which the grandma garden sector, it's a symbolic model of the Romanian traditional gardens in the countryside mainly. It is the place where vegetables, flowers, medicinal and aromatic plants, small trees, and fruit trees have a very well established role. This sector appeared in 2011 in the Botanical Garden within a volunteer project done by Teamwork Association in partnership with our botanical garden. This place wants to show the variety of the plants cultivated in the gardens from the countryside in Romania. It is basically a live laboratory for students and public. The next, we start the internal sectors. To talk about the internal sectors, first we have the exposition greenhouse, and it has a surface of 2,500 square meters, and it was opened for the public in 1976. Here we have plants from the tropical, subtropical, and equatorial areas from all continents, with a total of 680 taxa. The greenhouse has 8 compartments. The photo that you are seeing was made by me, but unfortunately the greenhouse was closed, so I just took a small peek inside, just to give you an idea of how the greenhouse is. Now let's see, the first compartment of the greenhouse is the palmarium, which of course is the highest part. And we have here palm trees, banana trees, and ficus. The next one, it is the Bromeliads Compartment and has many collections of plants that come from Central and South America. These are evergreen parts, and in their natural environment, they get fixed on the branches of the trees, they accompany orchids, and they grow among moss and lichens. Next, we have the Bromeliads Compartment. Okay. So this was the Bromeliads Compartment. Now we have the Cactus Collection, which has plants from the desert and semi-desert areas from the 2 Americas. And of course, Mexico is the one better represented here. Next, we have the Succulent Plants Compartment, which has representatives of some plants families that develop tissues that retain water in their leaves, stems, and in stems. in order to survive for a long time with no precipitations. These are the ones. Next, we have the compartment of the tropical aquatic plants, which contains a central pool with a collection of water lilies and different aquatic small plants. But the water lilies, as you can see from these pictures, are very nice, and they are different type of species. Next, we have the subtropical plants compartment, which contains a collection of citric small trees. And of course, these ones are very appreciated for their fruits. Next, we have the tropical ferns, which of course they have no flowers, but they have a diversity of forms from simple to very complex here in the greenhouse. And the last compartment of the greenhouse is a small collection of orchids and some decorative species collection. The flowers here are very, very special because they take forms of insects, butterflies, and even birds. So they are really a delight to watch. And now, at the end, I saved some interesting facts about this botanical garden. When you visit it, you are going to notice that there are some small hills around the garden, and these hills are a representation of the Carpathian Mountains we have here in Romania. Another interesting fact of the garden is that there is a section for kids, as you see in the first two pictures now. And the kids can also learn things. They are, as you can see in the first one. And there are also places to play there, so the kids can also enjoy very much. And there is a competition that the Botanical Garden holds for the kids. It's called the Little Botanist, and this competition tries to explore and investigate the world of the plants and to inspire children to protect nature as we all should do. And the last picture, if you are an animal lover like me, for sure you'll encounter a cat or two there, or even some birds like the one I encountered in the Rosarium. I'm sure you saw it in my picture. And of course, you're going to feel very well if you like nature and animals there, with the birds singing and I don't know, a cat appearing, and you can pet it maybe and enjoy the visit in the botanical garden very much. So this is in short the botanical garden from Bucharest. I thank you very much for your participation. I hope you enjoyed it and that you learned some things, and I hope to see you soon in the botanical garden. Why not?
Of course, and you couldn't miss the cat.
I couldn't miss the cat. Me, with animal lovers, I couldn't miss the cat, but unfortunately, the cat was a bit savage. She didn't want to be petted by me, but I couldn't miss the cat. No.
You could, I'm doing the same. I love cats, so yes, of course, we cannot miss them, and we shouldn't. We have
Yes.
some comments. Of course, our sweet colleague, happy to see you and meet you again. I'm very happy that you met and you participated to her tour. And of course, Mrs. Coca, which is very pleased with your tour. Congratulations. She completely forgot about this treasure. So here you
Yes,
are
it is a
bringing
pleasure.
to us this beautiful place of Bucharest, forgotten, it seems like.
Yes.
So, dear Carmen, what I can say, thank you very, very much for being today with us. And we invite everyone to come and discover by themselves this jewel of Bucharest. And do not forget, we are members of ProGuide, the Professional Association of Tourist Guides in Romania. And if you like our tours, just make a small donation in our PayPal account. And if you want, just tell them to remember that if they want to hire a guide, they have our contacts below. So, dear Carmen, I hug you dearly.
Me too,
So,
I hug you too.
thank you very much for being today with us, and we will keep contact with you, and we will schedule another meeting with you. It was
Sure. Thank you very much.
it was very good. Congratulations.
Thank
Thanks.
you. I was a bit nervous, I hope.
Everything was perfect. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Have a nice